Alright, hey gang, welcome to the channel, welcome back to the channel. I'm Andrew Wolfe, and today we're going to be talking about Boulder, Colorado. In specific, we're going to try to answer the question, what do I really need to earn in order to make Boulder my home, in order to live here comfortably? Alright, let's be honest guys, Boulder is not cheap. Colorado is already an above average state in cost relative to the rest of the United States, and Boulder is going to be even higher cost than your average city here in Colorado. It's definitely something you're going to plan for, make sure that your budget aligns with it, and make sure you're having the right lifestyle adjustments in order to be able to live here comfortably and really enjoy your time in Boulder. So why does income matter a little bit more here than it may in other cities? Well, the high cost of housing and the high cost of some lifestyle experiences really contribute to that. I'm going to want to make sure that your budget lines up with your lifestyle to ensure that you can really enjoy your time here without the extra added stress of being upside down or having extra financial worries. All right, and housing is going to be by far your biggest expense, whether you're renting or you're buying. That's going to, generally speaking, take the biggest portion of your monthly income. All right, so people are going to definitely ask me, how much does it cost to rent in Boulder? And it's definitely variable, right? You know, studio apartments are going to be less expensive than 3-bedroom or more apartments, and obviously where you choose to live, whether it's going to be right in the middle of downtown or a little further out in the neighborhoods. Also, newer apartments are going to generally have a premium over maybe some more classic living apartments here in Boulder. That said, I would say across all those platforms, average rent price is going to be generally in the middle 2000 range, 2400, 2000, let's say. So that's obviously a big thing to factor in. It is going to offer maybe a little less upfront cost than buying, but you know, renting is a way to get introduced to the city, to get a foothold in, and then jump off from there. Now, what does it cost to buy? Well, you know, single-family homes, generally speaking, are average going to out in the 7-figure range, just over $1 million. But townhouses and condos are going to offer much easier entry price points and typically serve as the foothold that people look to buy in Boulder start with, right? So it's a great entry-level home, and it's a great way to save a little money up front, have, you know, relatively lower monthly cost, but also have great return in the long run, right? So generally speaking, Boulder's market has performed very well over time. It's stood up better to some of the ups and downs we've seen on the economic market that other states maybe have gone down in price. Boulder stayed pretty steady or generally even increased. And it also is a great source of potential rental income, right? So obviously with the university here and the high amount of people coming into Boulder to see if it's a great lifestyle fit for them, there's generally speaking going to be plenty of opportunities to rent out your townhouse or condo when you outgrow it or are ready to move on to a single family home here in Boulder if you choose to retain that rather than sell it. All right, so one thing that's going to help out a little bit is going to be the lower than average property taxes here in Colorado. So we do have a little bit better cost of living as far as property taxes are concerned. That said, you know, insurance might be a little bit higher, HOA fees, if you do end up going with a condo or townhouse, those things can really add up. The taxes don't necessarily offset all those increased costs, but it is going to help out a little bit. Transportation is another way where you can save some cash. People who live and work locally tend to commute to work by a bike, or local transit's a great way to go if they want to save some money. Parking is not too bad. I don't think it's really necessary to pay a high parking fee and get around Boulder if you do choose to drive. So getting around the city, working around the city, it's a little bit easier to save money from the commute perspective than if you lived in a larger city like Denver, let's say. If you do choose to commute to Denver though, you can look at, you know, commuting that way over public transit as well, but obviously the wear and tear on your car, the gas, parking downtown, those can add extra costs as well. So just make sure that you're budgeting well, trying to factor that into your whole cost monthly budget of your lifestyle, choosing to make Boulder your home. All right, so another thing to factor in is kind of just regular lifestyle choices, right? Groceries, dining out, the gym you're gonna join. If you have children, childcare costs definitely can be a little bit more expensive than other cities. That said, you can really budget for it. So making sure you're planning ahead, trying to dine out a little less often, or picking your spots when you want to go out and have a really great experience, and balance, you know, the cost of your home versus the cost of the lifestyle you want to live in Boulder. Some people are much happier living in a smaller studio apartment and having their extra funds to go out and live in Boulder and experience downtown. Other folks want to have maybe a little bit more quiet, larger space, and then, you know, go out on special occasions or when they need to. Now, childcare and schooling are definitely going to be factors for those of us that have children. Not going to be a concern for everybody, but a good amount of folks that choose to make Boulder their home do have families. Now, the good news is the public education system in Boulder is very, very strong. People move here for it, right? So you're going to have a great education for your kids, but, you know, after school care or daycare for those of us that have younger children are going to be important things to factor in. Now, there are ways to mitigate that cost as well. Like we talked about in previous videos, Boulder has a very tight-knit community feel about it, so some families will look at doing nanny shares rather than sending their children to a formal daycare, and that can be a good way to have you know, smaller, less people for your individual daycare worker to manage if it's just you and a few friends' children. It can also mitigate the cost because you're spreading that over a small group of people rather than having such a large facility, you know, more children per teacher, and just generally increase costs. So it's something to factor in as well. All right, so getting back to the original question, how much do I really need to earn to feel comfortable here? Now, obviously that's a loaded question because it's going to be a little bit different for every individual person or every individual family, depending on their individual lifestyles. That said, I'm not going to hide the ball. I would say a lot of folks feel comfortable starting in the $120,000 to $150,000 in take-home income. Again, a lot of factors can make that number be more than enough or inadequate, but at a high level, I think that's a good place to start. And seriously, dual income earners obviously have a great advantage in that circumstance because they have two people contributing to that kitty and can, get to that number maybe a little bit easier. So that's something important to think about. Remote workers also make it a little bit easier as well, right? So people who are getting paid out of state or out of town salaries, but choose to make Boulder their home for their lifestyle, might have a bit of an inside track and be able to earn a little bit better or a little bit quicker to get to that number. Another thing people choose to do is look at nearby cities, right? So Louisville, Longmont, Gun Barrel, there's lots of great towns that are very, very near Boulder that have awesome cultures and awesome lifestyles themselves, but can come into Boulder when they want to, that have a little bit easier entry price points. So that's something you factor in. Maybe you want to kind of check out a surrounding town for a few years and then choose to move into Boulder if and when you're comfortable. That's another great strategy of making the Boulder lifestyle something you can choose. So again, guys, it's not cheap, right? Boulder's an expensive city, but there's ways to plan, ways to budget, and the biggest advice I can give you is work with someone who knows what they're doing. Connect with a great local agent and a great local lender if buying a home in Boulder is something you seriously want to explore. They're going to do the extra work of factoring your whole budget to making sure that the monthly cost of living here is something that you can absorb and feel comfortable and really enjoy. No one wants to feel like they're trapped in their own home because they can't go and enjoy the neighborhood they want to live in. So please, guys, I'm happy to help out, answer any questions you have. Feel free to reach out. I love connecting with you over these videos, but if you want to talk a little bit further, I love even more connecting person to person. So call, text, email, whatever works for you. I would love to have further conversations. Again, that's Andrew Wolfe, guys. Have a great day.